Hello, welcome back to Socially Unapologetic. Today we have Renée here from LymphTopia. She is our lymphatic drainage massage specialist, and I'm so excited that she is here today to talk to you guys. I love to start my episodes always with two truths and one lie. I like to put my guests on the spot. So, Renée, I'm going to ask you two truths, one lie, anything. It can be work related, life related. Let us know. And then at the end, we will come back and then I will get you to say what they are. I will guess and then we can let our audience know.
Hi. I'm really on the spot now. Two truths. So two truths and one lie. I have a 5-year-old child. I do not work in wellness. I have a sibling.
Sibling. Okay. Make sure that you remember those. So at the end, we will come back and I will guess. But I wanted to start off the episode with some people getting to know who you are, what you do, how you got into the industry that you're in. So do you kind of want to chat a bit about that with us?
Absolutely. So my name is Renée. I am the founder of my company by the name of LymphTopia. I am a lymphatic drainage massage specialist, and I started LymphTopia to bring lymphatic drainage to the forefront, to bring it into everyday wellness and self-care practices. So I offer the services itself. So that is lymph drainage of the face and the body. I offer master classes and one-on-one trainings to learn the technique that I developed. I offer a product line that is currently in development, and I also run workshops. So I partner because movement is such a big part of my life. I have tried to incorporate it within what I do now. So low impact is really, really good to move lymph. And so I partner with a lot of Pilates studios or yoga studios to educate on lymphatic drainage and get bodies moving and flowing. So that's a little bit about what I do.
Do you want to let people know what lymphatic, like the benefits of it and how it can kind of like help them in their everyday life?
Absolutely. So lymphatic drainage. So we have person to person, we have between 500 and 800 lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are lined up all over your body. And what they do is it's your body's first line of defense before your immune system. So everything that is trying to attack the immune system, like foreign invaders, toxins, antibiotics, like all of these things that are kind of coming into our body to attack it, our lymph nodes kind of hold on to those things and filter through them. So it'll hold on to all of the bad toxins before letting it into the immune system. So our lymph nodes, when you feel like they're a little bit clogged up or a little bit more inflamed, they do need to be drained in order to just kind of flush the body of all of the stagnancy that it's holding on to. So I actually manually do that for you. There's so many ways to do it from home, but you can't really give yourself a full body massage.
Yeah.
So that's where I come into play, and I'm able to just drain that for you.
Okay, cool. And what made you get into this industry? Where did the passion come from?
I never actually saw myself doing massage, which is so funny. I have been in the wellness industry for probably over 5 years now. I have always really been in tune with the body, specifically from a holistic perspective. My sister is a holistic nutritionist and a personal trainer and really brought me into her own world. And so when I was pregnant, even prior to and then after when I was postpartum, I really started to get more involved in that sense of just like a holistic approach to my lifestyle, my eating, the way I trained, all of the things. And so myself, I also went to school for holistic nutrition, and I started personal training a lot of young moms as well, just because I felt like there were so many missing gaps in terms of support when it came to moms. So I started doing that, and I just noticed that there was a missing link there when it came to recovery, when it came to the mind body connection. And I struggled with a lot of digestive issues myself, and I had a lymphatic drainage massage done. And I swear to God, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever experienced, because it really helped me and my digestive. I noticed a huge difference instantly, and I was like, this is it. Like I need to get into this. So I had worked with the body and I had worked with like internally, like when it came to nutritional and stuff like that, when it came to coaching people. So I was able to have a good sense of what that would feel like. And then I think this was just like the perfect piece to add onto what I did. So that's kind of how I got into it. And it's just the rest is history.
I love that. I want to
Thank
kind of
you.
talk more like as a business owner, like owning a
Mhm.
business, running a business, kind of like that whole realm. What does success mean to you? What is the like word success when you hear it, when you feel it? What does that mean to you?
Success to me means that you genuinely enjoy what you do and it fulfills you. Like it makes you feel great. I think me as a person and as a business owner, I believe that I'm very successful because I'm actively making a difference in people's life. And that makes me feel really good to know that I can be of support and I can be that person for somebody else. So success again to me is just being happy and being just very content in what you do because when you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I
Hmm.
truly believe that.
Yeah, that's so
It's
important.
so cliche.
No, no,
It's so cliche, but
no.
it's so real.
No, I love stuff like that because I'm like a big believer into like everything happens for a reason. And sometimes when I say that, I'm like, that sounds so like everybody says everything happens for a reason. But when things actually start happening and you start realizing it, you're like, okay, this does make sense. So I love those little like cliche terms.
Me too. Me too. Because it just really it's truthful. It's a fact, right?
Yeah. So being in the wellness world, what does like a daily routine look like for you? And getting into that routine, what were like struggles that you dealt with? Because I know a lot of like business owners and entrepreneurs that I talk to, they're like a routine. Like it's hard to like have that work life balance of like making sure you're staying healthy, making sure that your body's healthy because we know like as business owners sometimes we can be working 12, 14, 15-hour days and you're not taking
Oh yeah.
care of your body, you're taking care of everybody else. So what does your kind of routine look like and how do you maintain
I feel like my routine changes quite a bit because it's so unpredictable with having a child.
that?
um, I think with when it comes to moving my body, that's a very big mental thing. It used to be more of a thing where I really needed to lose. I felt like I needed to lose the weight, just from a very superficial standpoint at that point of my life. But my routine, it has to start in the morning with just honestly, it's hit or miss. It just starts with my daughter. It starts with her. I get her ready for school, do all of the things to kind of get that going. And then once I drop her off, that's my time. That's my time. I'm in the gym, or I have found a new love for reformer Pilates. I'm absolutely obsessed. So I kind of balance that out with strength training. Strength training now is just so important to me because it really helps with my mental. It helps me just feel good. It helps me just clear things up that have been in my head, and it just allows me to really just be. Reformer is a beautiful sport I have discovered, and I just think it's just fun, and it allows me to slow things down from time to time and not really stress out my body. So I'll either do one of the two, and then I kind of get it right into my work day. So I have to do meetings in the morning that are scheduled, or if I have clients, I see clients about 5 times a week. So I kind of I schedule everything in advance. So on a Sunday, I'll sit there on my Google Calendar and just schedule my entire week so I don't feel all over the place. And yeah, my day to days change quite drastically, but the first block of my morning is generally the same.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it looks like.
I love that. What do you find is your biggest joy in your career or in your like field that you're in? What's the like at the end of the day when you're sitting down, what is something that you always like reflect on that brings that joy to you?
Just knowing that I made a difference
Mhm.
for somebody else, being able to connect with people, being able to like learn their story and help them get to the root of the problem. There's so many practitioners out there, and I differentiate myself because I like to tailor things to the root cause. I don't like to just oh, hey, here's a lymphatic drainage massage. You're going to look snatched and that's that. Like, no, I want there to be follow ups. I want there to be, consistency. I want you to be able to feel a difference, not just see a difference. And so I also work in a multidisciplinary clinic alongside a whole bunch of other holistic practitioners. And so if there is something that could be underlying, I always refer out to my colleagues because we come up with treatment plans together and figure out what it is that we can do to take the next steps for this client to feel their best.
Mhm.
So to me, that feels like joy because I'm able to actually help somebody feel better.
Yeah, I think that's important too, right? Whenever you go to like an appointment and you're seeing somebody, you're going for a service, like that follow up after, or not just like a one appointment and then you're out and you never see them or hear from them again. It's kind of nice to have that like reassurance that you're going to have a plan, somebody cares about what you're doing. I
Hmm.
feel like that's always important, like any appointment that you go into. So I love that.
Agreed. Agreed.
What is a failure that you have endured and how have you handled it, whether it's in entrepreneurship, whether it's like starting a business, in the business? What is a failure that you have come across and how have you
A failure, it's a funny one. So I started personal training and I started a little brand. I wouldn't say it's little, but I started a brand around personal training and coaching women. And I feel like I didn't give it everything that it needed. I felt like the industry was super saturated at the time. I mean, it still is, but I think when you have a certain approach and you differentiate yourself and make yourself unique, then you can definitely stand out. And I didn't give it the time and the effort that I believe that I could have. And I compared myself to a lot of people. And I think that's where I failed. I believe comparison is the biggest thief of joy because I dreaded I dreaded work. I dreaded it. I loved seeing my clients. I loved seeing the progress, but I constantly compared myself to other people, people that didn't even actually that weren't coaches or weren't trainers, and I just dumped myself down. So I believe that I failed in that aspect of like fighting that imposter syndrome for
with that?
sure.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is so real, I think, in every single
So
industry,
real.
but like
Oh
especially
yeah.
the fitness industry, like coming from like owning Socially Brooke, but also having like that fitness side, like personal training, like working with fitness brands, stuff like that. It's so hard to like
Hmm.
feel like I'm like some days I'm in the gym, I'm like, why am I promoting these products? Why do these companies want to work with me? Like I don't look like half of these people, but
Hmm.
it's so hard. So it's like I love that you brought that up because I just think imposter syndrome, like you hear the words over and over and over again, but some people have no idea what it means. So I love when people bring up imposter syndrome on my podcast because it gives different perspectives of how people deal and handle with it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I have worked on. I mean, we all compare ourselves to people at the end of the day from time to
Hmm.
time. It happens. We're human. And especially with social media and Instagram being like the worst,
Yeah.
but also the best thing,
Yeah.
it happens. And so I think I believe that I actually have worked on that and I've gotten so much better. And I truly believe that I'm in the place that I'm in right now for a reason. And I feel like I fit here, as opposed to anywhere else. I never felt like I belonged. The fitness industry, as you know, it's very toxic. It's
Yeah.
very, very toxic. And if you don't take care of yourself in terms of like your mental state, it's very easy to fall into several rabbit holes.
Hmm.
So I have given myself a lot of grace. I may not look like that Pilates princess, or that beautiful bikini competitor, but I mean, I'm authentically me,
Hmm.
right? And I think that speaks volume. So
Yeah,
yeah.
unapologetically you.
Unapologetically
Yeah.
me, exactly.
What are some ways that you stay motivated, like kind of tying into this imposter syndrome conversation? What are some ways that you stay motivated and you kind of keep yourself in a positive mindset when it comes to business? Because again, I say this all the time, like we all endure those negative thoughts, that imposter syndrome. We all feel like we're not good enough when it comes to business or we can do better. So what are some ways that you stay motivated?
I keep like guardrails up like this.
Blinders.
Blinders. Like I don't watch anybody and what they're doing.
Hmm.
If anything, I'm actually very inspired by so many women entrepreneurs. I don't believe really in motivation anymore. And I'm sure you can even
Hmm.
attest to this. Like motivation does not drive you.
Yeah.
I think it's determination, it's
Yeah.
perseverance, it's resilience, it's honestly just like it's just discipline at this
Hmm.
point. It's like I'm going to make this work. I have to make this work. It's going to work. Like there's no other option
Hmm.
at this point. So I don't believe there's a motivation for anything. It's just that like I'm building this. It's going to work.
Yeah.
Period.
I love that.
You know?
I think
Yeah.
I think it's also important that you brought up, like, I don't, like, when you said at the beginning, like, you don't follow people that you don't want to see. Like, I talk about this all the time. Like, I only follow people on Instagram or on social media that are going to benefit me in my life, that are going to bring me
Mhm.
something that, unless it's family, obviously family, friends, like outside of that, like, I'm not following all of these influencers that are doing all, like, I love that they're doing that, but at the same time, when I open up my Instagram, I want to feel fulfilled. Like, I want to feel like I'm either learning
Absolutely.
something, I'm gaining something, like something needs to come out of me scrolling social media 24/7 because it is my job. But when it's
Mhm.
outside of my job hours, I don't need to be feeding myself with negativity, right? Like, you follow people that bring you that value and bring you that joy, or don't just unfollow them. Like, you don't have to follow people if they're not bringing you something.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Or mute them.
Yeah.
I think like as at a professional standpoint, like there's so many people that you follow just because like it's a professional thing to do
Yeah.
and unfollowing them is very high school. And sometimes you just don't don't agree with their
Hmm.
stance. And so you just you just mute them a little bit and that's just it, and you keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's definitely an approach that I've taken
Yeah.
for a very long time now because yeah, the comparison thing is
Mhm.
I have fallen down that many times and it's only brought me to
Yeah.
horrible places.
Yeah.
So,
No, I
yeah.
agree.
Yes.
What do you wish you would have known when you first started to now? Like, if you could look at yourself when you started then, what would you wish you have known now?
So, my first ever business, I started a cookie company pre-COVID, and that was my first ever time experiencing entrepreneurship and owning a business and like playing all the roles. And just, I think what I would have what I would have loved to know then was that it's okay to make these mistakes and it's okay that you are a student always. And just be willing to learn off of what people are saying. You don't need to listen to everything that they say and, absorb it and use that. But it's okay for people to give you criticism and you learn off of that. Another thing is my partner and I used to work together in the cookie business. And I think that it really was difficult because our business relationship also was part of our like intimate relationship. And now we have our businesses are completely separated. So I think that's something that I wish I knew a lot sooner. But he took a step back knowing that that was like causing conflict and it's been separated ever since. And I didn't agree with it at the time,
Mhm.
but I see now like the benefits in that. So I think another thing would be to give myself more grace, but just allowing myself to be okay with not being okay
Mhm.
in that because playing all the roles, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's really not easy.
Yeah.
So it's okay to have to figure it out.
I like
Yeah.
that you said the, like, you're always a student. I think that's something that a lot of people forget about when it comes to owning a business. Like, it's like, okay, we started our business. Maybe we went to school before, but now we started it and then we're done. It's like, no, you're always learning. You literally never stop.
Always. Mhm.
Like,
And, like, I'll use fitness as an example, like, I was around a lot of coaches that are, like, snotty coaches that are know-it-alls, and, like, at the end of the day, no one likes a know-it-all because, like, no one knows everything, and so, what I noticed was that, like, they would treat me a certain way or, like, just talk to me a certain way as if I didn't really know much, and I would always approach things like, "Oh, I'm okay to, like, learn new things." Like, your approach to things may be very different to how I approach things, and
Mhm.
that's okay. But I'm the type of person that's just always been okay with that, and some people are not, especially in the fitness industry. Like, you
Yeah.
cannot tell certain coaches something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a better way to look at yourself as an eternal student as
Mhm.
opposed to not.
Yeah, I love that. And I
Mhm,
think we're all unique in business in every single way. Like I always tell people, like you
mhm,
work with people work with me because of my approach, but that's not going to be every single marketing company's approach. Like I take a different
mhm,
approach and that's what works for me and my clients, but I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Like I'm not going to be somebody that everybody wants to work with. And when I
mhm,
first started, that was like a hard pill to swallow. I'm like, wait, why don't people want to work with me? Like, what the heck? They're like, oh, your brand's so pink. Like, that's all you know. I'm like, no, that's just me. It's not my brand. Like, my
mhm.
brand, like, I do more than just pink things. But,
Right,
like, and now I'm just like so okay with that. I'm like, honestly, you know what? Like, we're probably not going to work together. And that's completely fine. And
and that's
yeah,
okay,
like,
yeah.
you'll find
I
somebody.
think re I think realizing that, like, you're not for everyone
Yeah.
and that's okay is a really big step.
Yeah.
As I approach 30, I am in this mentality that I'm just like, "I really don't care what anybody thinks." Like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if it makes me happy, then I'm okay with that, and if people don't like me, that's okay, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that I don't like,
Yeah.
right? So I think just being okay with that and just like swallowing that, I think it actually puts you at a better place than
Hmm.
anything else.
Yeah, yeah, being confident with what you offer. Because when you're not,
Absolutely.
that's when that imposter syndrome comes and then you're just going to set yourself back. So just being comfortable with why you are who you are and what you offer and the confidence
Absolutely.
and the authenticity, all of that.
Exactly. Exactly.
What advice would you give to somebody who's listening thinking about starting a business? So it kind of relates to the question before of like what you would like tell your younger self, but somebody who's wanting to start a business, doesn't know where to start, what would be a piece of advice you could offer?
My biggest piece of advice is to just start. There's no right way of starting and there's no wrong way of starting. I've heard people say, "Oh, create a business plan." I didn't start my business plan until I like was already halfway through starting the business. So I don't think that, again, there's a right or wrong way. Just do it. Just start. Even with my cookie business, I had no clue what I was doing. I posted cookies, people inquired, and then I would just sell them. And then I had to figure out, okay, so now that people are buying them, I have to figure out where I'm going to get these boxes, how many boxes, and so on and so forth, right? So you figure it out as you go. It's
Mhm.
always going to be like that, even now. Like, no, I don't think any business owner really has it figured out until they're probably in their top roles. But even then, some, like, they're probably still learning as well on a day to day,
Mhm.
right? So I would just say, just start. If it's something that you love and it's something that you believe that you are supposed to be in, just do it. Just
Mhm.
start it.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that you said that. I think like some people look for like a perfect time. So whether it's like leave
Mm-hmm.
a job that they're not happy at or like I talk to people all the time like okay, I work a full-time job 9 to 5 and I want to start my own business, but I'm just going to like run it half while I still work the full-time job. I'm like, well, you're never going to commit. Like I just
Yeah.
like fully cut my like full-time off and I just poured myself into Socially Brooke and now we're 4 years down the road and it worked. Like I never like told myself like I was like this has to work. Like you were saying before, it has to because if it doesn't, I
There's
have
no
nothing else.
choice.
Whereas if you
Yep.
still have your foot a little bit in like a security blanket, you're never going to give yourself that ability to fully immerse into your company because it's like ride or die. Like you're going to drown if
Hmm.
you don't. So you got to figure it out.
Absolutely. And I think I've been asked this question a lot, like how is it being an entrepreneur? And honestly, it's definitely super, super difficult. It's very hard, but there's nothing more fulfilling than knowing that you are the dictator of what you create,
Mhm.
right? And what you bring in. Like, you truly are the dictator.
Mhm.
And I think that scares a lot of people, but you have to be like, an entrepreneurship and owning a business is also not for everyone. But you have to be willing to take a risk. You have to be a risk taker, because like there's gonna be days. There's
Mhm.
gonna be some really tough days. And I mean, if you're not built for it, you're not built for it, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But again, just be willing to take the risk.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you network within your industry? So I know that you said you had like events that you guys do within the wellness, but what are some ways that you kind of have grown your network and have stayed connected within like marketing in general?
With network, I love attending events. I think attending events in terms of like workshops, networking events where it's just like meeting people and like learning new things. I think that those are really great too. I really love going to those. I used to be super intimidated by them, but now I'm like, oh, this is fun, you know? I don't actually feel like I need to go with anyone. I can go by myself, you know? A lot of it's through social media. I send a lot of messages through social media and connect that way. And then I also meet people through my own events, which I think is super cool because even I threw my first ever event at the end of September, and I've developed some pretty cool friendships since, and I think that that's really special. So constantly just putting yourself out there where you don't feel comfortable and being okay to approach people. So I've been doing a lot of that, and it's really helped a lot.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's something that I hear a lot with entrepreneurs and business owners is like, where do I connect? How do I connect to people? How do I network? um,
Definitely events. Even like I'm obsessed with othership, like obsessed.
I haven't
And I think
been.
that that's a no,
I
it's
know.
honestly life changing. You have to
I
go. You have
know.
to. Maybe we'll go
Okay.
together. We'll go together.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's I've taken a few of my friends there for their first time and they've absolutely fallen in love with it, but you meet some pretty cool people, you
hmm
know. I've taken my partner there. We've met some pretty cool couples. So it's also a really like because you're putting yourself out there in a space that is intimate and there's a lot of like-minded individuals around you. It's a really nice place to connect as well. So I always say othership. Othership's a great place for people to meet people.
I need to go there. Maybe it's a Christmas
Yeah.
present.
There you go. It's amazing. It's life-changing.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, Renee, thank you so much for being on Socially Unapologetic. I'm so happy that you came on and people can kind of dive into who you are and your life as a business owner. I wanted to go back to the beginning where we did the two truths and one lie. So if you can remember what they are, if you can just repeat them and then I will guess.
So the first one was I have a 5-year-old child.
Mhm.
The second one was I do not work in wellness. And the third one, I have a sibling.
Well, I feel like I'm biased because I feel like I know.
Yeah,
I
you
I
know, you know.
know. So I'm gonna say you do have a child and you do
Yes,
have a sibling and
I
you
do.
do work in the wellness.
I do work in
Yeah.
wellness. I made it really easy. You put me on the spot.
It's okay. It's okay. That's why I like to do it. I like people to be like thrown off guard, but it's also fun because we learned throughout this whole entire podcast your life in the wellness industry. So that was good as a lie because then people could find out that was the truth.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really great. Thank you.
Thank you.